more in line with the Tech Alley theme, is Adam Lopez. Adam is a cybersecurity, digital security expert. He's going to be talking to you today about how to protect your digital data. Everyone, Adam Lopez.
Thank you. Thank you, Lorraine. Thanks, Tech Alley. Thanks, Josh, team here. Really quick, my name's Adam Lopez. I'm just here to kind of high level. We're not going to jump too much into the technical details of, what kind of platforms to buy. I know this is called Tech Alley, but more on the business side of how to protect you guys as consumers, as business owners in the digital age here. So a little bit about me. I don't have a lot of crazy acronyms after my name, CISSP, stuff like that. I grew up on kind of the bad side of the fence for hacking. So I have a phone booth on here. So I started, if anyone ever heard of Kevin Mitnick, he did the Ghost in the Wires. Very good guy with Steve Jobs. Anyways, me and my friends figured out the phone booth scam when we were little. And what it is that you'd call the operator, you'd push 0, and then you'd say, what time is it? They'd say, it's 5:45. And then you just pretend to hang up like that. It would actually reset the phone back to the dial tone again, and you could actually make a long distance phone call. So I was calling girlfriends from everywhere. It was a cool kind of technique that I learned through the days. After that, I did get into trouble a little bit. We won't go into that because it's been expunged, but I won't go into that. But I had a good time doing that, right? So a little bit about me. My last job, I was the vice president of IT for Goodwill here in Southern Nevada. We had 27 stores, so I was over their IT security as well as their IT infrastructure. Before that, my heart was in gaming, so worked for brands like Hard Rock International, Golden Entertainment, Valley Technologies, and Caesars. We're going to do a little exercise. So everyone pull out their phones and go to their Wi-Fi and look at available networks. You should see the past casino, stuff like that. So when you see it, all right, you all been rickrolled. So basically, if you look on there, you're seeing multiple different SSIDs on your phone, right? What that means is that you're seeing those signals that say, hey, this is what it is. This is called a pin testing device, also known as a flipper 0. What we can do also on this is I can mimic the past casino Wi-Fi SSID, and I can have you log into that SSID, and I can watch all your keystrokes go back and forth.
Wow.
With this simple device. I also can launch a DDoS attack on this.
Wow.
So what it means I can launch all those rickroll things you see on there. I could launch that to a specific AP, household, or something like that. It would crash your Wi-Fi at home with just this little device, right? So these are easily able to be bought online on secret stores, but
turn it off now, please.
Yes, it is off. But it's a fun little device. Okay, so what are the top small business cybersecurity statistics for 2024? Cybercrime study reveals that nearly 43% of cyber attacks are on small businesses, right? You and I are some of the biggest attacks that they're looking for in these individuals. Only 14% of SMBs are prepared. We get a lot of calls in our company after the fact. It's, hey, I've been breached, now what do I do, right? People don't understand, cybersecurity is relatively inexpensive. You can get some of this stuff for literally like $20, $30 a month that would prepare you for these kind of attacks. On average, SMBs spend between $800,000 and $700,000 on cybersecurity incidents. So, how are you prepared as a business if these events happen? 95% of all cyber breaches are attributed to human error. That includes phishing attempts, social engineering, stuff like that. Finally, the next 5 years, we're expected to see 15% of cyber crimes go up to about $10.5 trillion. So a lot of money is being, built through all these kind of this stuff. So the most common threats faced by small businesses today are, of course, phishing emails, right? We all get them, we all see them. What do we do with them, right? Another one is, ransomware. If you're actually attacked, what is your plan as a business, as an individual, right? Do you have an incident response plan? right? There is certain steps you can take as an individual or as a business owner to make sure you're prepared. Another piece is, impersonation, social engineering. What happened at the MGM, right? I befriended somebody on LinkedIn. Hey, you're a good guy. Let's get to be friends with each other. Next thing you know, you're infiltrating their system. Next thing you know, they're in your system. Another one you're seeing a lot is called smishing, SMS phishing, right? You're all getting them, right? Like, hey, hello, how you doing? Best advice, just delete, report. Do not engage, do not anything like that. Another big one that's out there is QR. It's called quishing. I don't know what this quishing. It's all phishing, right? But quishing, which is QR codes. So you're seeing a lot of QR codes out there. Be careful, right? If it asks for your general information, name, email, it's okay. But once they start going down the path of asking for date of birth, social security number, red flags, right? Just stop, because that's what they're just trying to attempt you to do to put this information into their system. And the last one is weak passwords, right? We all know that, password 123 is the most common password, right? Make sure you're using the right password. A new study found that what people are using now is phrases. And phrases are considered to be more secure than your long passwords with numbers and asterisks. So if one of your passwords could be, I love my wife, with an exclamation point. That's a lot more secure than a 7-digit password with a special character. Top cybersecurity risks for small businesses: lack of awareness and training among employees, right? Are you training your employees on what to do when they get these phishing emails? Or what they do when they get these calls or random people attracting them on LinkedIn? Another piece, outdated software. How many people are running Windows 10 still? Or 9, 8, 7? That is a lot of stuff out there that people are still have those kind of things. Inadequate backup and recovery systems. Like, is your data being backed up? A lot of the things that you can kind of navigate if you are ever hacked is that a secure backing up in place, whether it's through Google, Microsoft, OneDrive. There's stuff that's actually already inside of your system that you can use today that doesn't cost anything. And then over resilience of default security settings, right? Just kind of not doing the 2FA, not doing stuff just because you just don't feel like it. 2FA is such a great tool. I know it's a pain in the butt, but at least it kind of gives you that information. Like, hey, if someone's going to hack your stuff, they have to give you that 2FA, that two-factor authentication, whether it's through Google, Microsoft, Entra, or it's through just a text message. So who are all these criminal guys that are out there stealing our data? Right now, Bitcoin's at 100,000, or was, fluctuating. But right now, the biggest group right now, Lazarus, is going after the Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin wallets are hot because so many people are out there trying to make money off crypto. So they're putting in these wallets. That's the group that's making the most money right now, mainly from Russia. Evil Corp, I don't make these names up, is after charities. They go after a lot of charities, being from going from
Help!
It wasn't me.
Okay. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you. I got hacked. Nice. All right. I'm glad I didn't have to dance. That would have been really scary for everybody. Right now, I'm not that good. Going back, charity, being at Goodwill, we saw a lot of this because, again, you don't hire high-skilled labor, so a lot of these people are infiltrating these charities, so they're able to get in through that means. Lockbit is another one that goes after law enforcement agents. Believe me, these cyber places are crazy. Like, if you get ransomware, they have their own help desk. They have their own, so when you call the number, say I've been hacked, they're going to give you a help desk number. They're going to give you an account manager to walk you through the process to pay them for the Bitcoin. They are so sophisticated that it's just really amazing. Black Cat goes after medical, and Scattered Spider, we all know that went after MGM this year, right? So that's another one that we saw that happen. Again, that was social engineering, but it was very multiple layered in that situation. So I want to show you kind of what's going on in the world right here. I'm just going to exit out of here and just show you like a threat map. So this is easily attainable. Oh, it didn't show. Hold on.
There you go.
So this is real-time threat maps. You can get this, it's online. Basically, it just shows you all the different, oh, let me get rid of that little. Oh, I clicked on Italy, sorry. So it shows you basically all the different threats that are happening across the US, in America, actually, everywhere. And you're seeing all these tracks in real time of these different kind of DDoS attacks, different kind of attacks that are happening. But it's really interesting that when this thing really kicks off, I mean, you're just seeing stuff fly across everywhere and everywhere. But it's really interesting to kind of, it's Fortinet. Fortinet is a web service provider that helps you with firewalls. Great site to go check out that kind of shows you what's happening. Also another one is Live Cyber Threat. So this one kind of shows you just the information going back and forth. Now don't get me wrong, like a lot of this stuff is, let's go back here. A lot of these are VPNs, right? So we're not really seeing the true places where they're coming from, but at least you're trying to get in that idea of how many attacks we're getting here in the States. So what do? You could live in a bubble, right? Just have your ISP there and don't do anything or touch anything. Or you could be this guy, right? IT security, you passed the test. Me who never opens an email, right? So I mean, you can be that guy, but we don't want you to be that guy. So what can we do to help you spot the fakes kind of scenarios? So here's one that's pretty interesting. This came from Microsoft, right? There's a fake one, there's a real one. But what they did here, and you can't really see it from the back, but Microsoft, spelled microsoft.co.uk, they put two R's here. They put an R and an N. So that R, it looks like an M. Throws you off, right? You're thinking, oh, the domain. It's got to be right. Those small little things, and then you come down here as well. Live has two I's. So, try to avoid it, the best you can. Try to look out for the fakes that are out there. Another one that came across, this is a new one. Pretty interesting. So this came to me, actually. So, hey, I won't read the whole thing, but basically it says, hey, I've been watching you. And this is for a few other MSPs I've seen people are getting this. And it's just saying, we know what you're doing. We know your address. We know your name. They even put a little screenshot of like from Google Maps. It wasn't the right house, but they put a little screenshot of my neighborhood. And again, these guys are just trying to collect their $200 in Bitcoin fee, $2,000 in Bitcoin fees. And the best thing, don't engage with them. Just ignore it, put it to phishing. But it's really cool. But it's kind of funny about this is like, you've been carelessly lately clicking through little girls' videos and venturing into darker corners of cyberspace. So they're just trying anything they can to manipulate you, scare you into their tactics to get this across the board. So what do we do? So building a cybersecurity foundation is crucial to everybody, right? So identify vulnerabilities in your IT system. Implement basic security measures. Do you have a firewall? Do you have antivirus software? Do you have encryption? Use monitoring tools. Identify potential threats. Have a plan in place for addressing breaches. Do you have an incident response plan for your business? Ensure data recovery processes are in place to minimize downtime. Oh, sorry. Ensure data recovery processes are in place to minimize downtime. So again, these are key components to make sure you're okay. I can't emphasize enough about having an incident response plan for your business. So what happens if you get hacked? Like, what are you going to do, right? A lot of people just freeze up and just don't know what to do, right? Make sure you have that plan in place. There's a lot of free stuff out there. I'll have my email at the end. I'll send you a free, basically, IR response plan for anybody out there that wants to use it. And again, not using my tool, it's just basic stuff, what you need to do to take the steps. Affordable tools and resources. So there's free tools or next to free tools. Password managers are great, right? Making sure you use those. Endpoint protection software. Secure file sharing. Dropbox with encryption. Google Workplace. Make sure you're using like OpenVAS, like free open source software for vulnerability scanning, right? Is your network safe? Are you using some kind of some kind of two-factor authentication for your PC? Duo offers a free version for up to 10 users for your small business. Cronus Cyber Protection combines backup and malware solutions for small business, and it's relatively, it's very competitively priced. And then there's open source software such for firewall solutions for small business as well. So again, because the thing about firewall protection, and I won't go too much into detail, is that you can isolate your area into a bubble, so you're not getting any attacks from, say, Russia or China, because you're blocking all that traffic into one place. And the last one, CodeDefense, is a free tool available for phishing awareness tools and for small business. So this is a cool tool. Again, you don't know about phishing software, so again, phishing software is a little tool that usually goes on the top of your mailbox. And if you have a phishing attempt, you click on that. And then what that does, it goes into a repository. Google has this stuff like that. And what that does is it builds a repository. And it's good that you guys collect that because it helps other people from not getting hacked or getting those emails out there. That's basically about it. Just wanted to give you guys an update on just what's going on in the cybersecurity industry. It's a fast-moving industry. We're moving very quickly. As soon as stuff's being developed for the hackers, we're trying to infiltrate on the other side. This is my email if you want a free either cybersecurity analysis or if you want a free incident response plan. I'll send that to you. Just send me an email. Outside of that, open up for questions. You. Yes. No, I'm just messing with you. Hi. Softball.
What's the hackers' favorite season from their experience?
This time. For personal is this time, especially with the gift card scams. Okay. That's the big one. Just.
I was thinking fishing season.
Oh, FISI.
Oh, Jesus.
But All right, who's next? Yes.
What are your thoughts on cyber insurance, specifically for companies that might be running on tighter budgets or being careful about where they're putting their dollars?
Yeah, a lot of companies are requiring it nowadays, right? A lot of businesses have to do that, and again, go over it with there's a lot of the form's like 5 pages long, right? It has a lot of acronyms you might not know, and my experience is that they accept it as a journey, right? So you don't have to be fully compliant when you start. But as long as you're making those incremental progresses, saying, hey, we're implementing 2FA, we're implementing a password policy where we're changing it every 90 days, we're also instituting NIST framework. As long as you're making those progresses, your cyber assurance should be pretty low. Now, unless you get a hack, of course, right, then it goes up. But for the most part, you can kind of navigate on the lower end to avoid that. Yes?
You said use your password managers. I've heard the opposite.
Well, so they've come a long way, right? LastPass, stuff like that. There's just so many. How are you going to remember every single password you have, right? So, I don't recommend one over the other, but they're better than what they used to be. And again, either going to have it on a piece of paper or you're going to have everything written down and hopefully it doesn't get taken, or you got a great memory that you're going to remember everything, right? Kind of scenario. It's tough, right? Again, like password managers, they've come a long way. LastPass did get hacked, but I think they've gotten stronger since that hack, which is inevitable.
What about like the Google and Apple ones that just come?
Those are great, but if your computer ever gets stolen, that's all the information is stored on the hard drive. So that means the hacker can go in there and get all those passwords right from your hard drive. That's the problem. The good thing about the LastPass, stuff like that, they're cloud-based, right? They're SaaS. So nothing's being stored locally on your PC.
I heard they were hacked, though.
Yeah, they were. They were hacked about 4 years ago. Yeah. Who hasn't been hacked, though? Yeah, it's inevitable. I would rather trust a company that's been hacked than that one that doesn't. Because the guy that hasn't been hacked is going around nonchalantly, and guess what? He's going to get eventually hacked. But the people that have, they've lesson learned. Like SolarWinds. SolarWinds got hacked. But is anyone not using SolarWinds in a corporation? No, I mean, they're still using it, right? Because again, they know what the vulnerability is. Yes, sir.
I'm in the wireless network space with big carriers, and anybody can set up a base station and a tower on their car, collect data. You know, you can have all the cybersecurity you want on your core, but if you don't have something at the edge of the radio, what experience have you done with that area?
You know what, I kind of leave that to the carriers. That's a little bit above what we get into from the business point, because again, our endpoint detection is basically from the, let's call the trunk, or where the ISP is coming in, the core, to the end users, right? So that's where we primarily focus on. Haven't done too much on that side of it. I'm sure there's stuff out there, I'm just not familiar with it. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Related to what he's saying there with the phone companies and stuff, do you encourage your clients to use any end-to-end encryption?
Absolutely. So end-to-end encryption or an MDM, a strong MDM. MDM stands for mobile device management, right? Understanding where that is. And especially if you have employees that have phones, MDM is crucial, right? To be able to say, hey, if this employee quits, you can immediately lock that phone down. You can, do multiple things to make sure that your company's data doesn't get leaked. Yes, sir.
So Google just came out with a new breakthrough in quantum computing, right? And I think that brute forcing passwords is going to come back into reality in the next couple of years. Is MFA enough, or what else can we do?
Yeah, I mean, hey, quantum computing is huge, right? I mean, they're doing calculations faster than anything else, and I'm sure it's going to be it is going to be a problem. And again, as long as how you set that MFA up, right? Whether it's through your phone or through a secondary email, it's the securest. Not securest, but one of the securest ways you can go about. Again, like, unless you want to be super secure like the government, right? And people could talk more about that on that. I can't, but there is some other technology out there that can make you super secure. But yeah, I mean, it is a problem, right? I mean, again, like, you got to think about it, like, as AI develops, right? So there's a dark web AI, right? You can go in there and create scripts to actually, brutally, crack passwords, right? The longer the better, of course, but it's out there, and unfortunately it's inevitable.
Well, yeah, and then just the way they advertised it was, when you type your password into the password tester, it'll say, take 27 billion years.
Yeah, right.
Well, they just said, well, now it takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, because I had that slide I was going to present up here, but a lot of people said don't show that, because again, things are changing, right? That whole thing. And that's why I think a lot of the cyber experts are actually saying, go to a phrase now. She shells by the seashore. I guarantee that's going to be a great one, right? Kind of scenario. Go to the phrases. I think it's going to be a lot more harder to hack as we go through this process, but it's a learning journey, right? It's a cat and mouse game. We're always going to try to get ahead of the hackers. Are we, ever going to be ahead of them truly? Probably not, but at least we're learning as these things develop and roll out. Yes, sir.
Just really a question. In terms of like smaller businesses, so we're on about like less than 50 employees, there's probably multiple laptop. I mean, in my experience with consulting with these type of size firms, multiple laptops that are often independently owned are accessing an online database or an online piece of software or so forth. What are some things that they should be looking at if they don't actually control those laptops? What should a business be doing to try and secure it? Because quite often there's merchant accounts tied into that, there's databases tied into that, but it's all cloud-based.
Right.
It's being accessed by every man with a laptop, effectively, that it works for a company.
Right, and there's SaaS protection software out there that you can get that actually covers you from your computer up to that SaaS environment kind of scenario, and it kind of blocks and tackles the infiltrates as it comes through. As far as small businesses goes, just make sure that you have some kind of MDR, EDR, and don't want to get to endpoint detection response, or something like that on your PC that's actually just some kind of malware prevention At least have something. You're doing the scans. You're doing you're doing your updates. Defender's a great tool. It comes with everyone's Microsoft product. Use it, but you got to make sure it's updated, right? If you have a Windows 10 that hasn't been updated, it's going to be useless. But if you're running the most recent Defender stuff like that, a lot of that's protected. And SaaS, and go back to what SaaS is pretty much protected. The cloud providers have SOCs 24/7. They're just monitoring everything. The thing that's vulnerable is your PC. Right, that's the biggest thing. And the only thing I say is just make sure your software is up to date. If you can have an EDR, MDR on there, great. If you can have a SOC on there, even great. As security as a security central, you have that kind of inside of your back pocket. It would be good. Anybody else?
Can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
All right. So as a small business owner, you have two options of how you can get your employees to be on the internet. You either provide them a device or you let them use their own, right? So you save money by letting them use their own mobile devices and computers, but you increase your attack surface. So if you're handling sensitive data, if you have access to applications that are sensitive, that could take your business down. You should just invest that $500 to $800 computer and buy it for them. The next step would be to register these computers on Active Directory on your Windows. Now, you shouldn't have a personal version of your Windows, right? So it shouldn't say version 11. It should say Windows Pro or Windows Enterprise that allows you to monitor these computers, wipe them out. And that's what Adam was talking about earlier about the MDM, the mobile device management. So my employees are not allowed to have emails on their phones, for example. I issue the laptops to them, I eat up the cost, but it's a peace of mind for me. I know the serial numbers, I know when they're online, not that I'm a micromanager and I want to know when they're working, but I have the ability to monitor where these computers are at, and I can turn them off like that. So that is really your step one to making sure that your employees are accessing information through a controlled device. One of the reasons MGM was taken down by a hacker is the bring your own device policy. I was a contractor at MGM and I had my own computer and I was able to access everything there is in their environment. It was a huge vulnerability because they're like, oh, we don't buy people computers. And look, they ended up spending $100 million in 10 days to recover their operations. So you might think it costs a lot of money to buy that device for your employees, but it really is not. Think about the cost of a ransom, what Adam was talking about, versus the cost of that computer. And also, don't get personal Windows. Like, get away from that. Upgrade. It's $99 a year to upgrade to Pro, or $199 for enterprise version that allows you to monitor and control mobile devices and computers. I mean, that's a very small investment in your security, and it really starts right there.
Thank you for that. That's great. Yes. Sorry, last question. I'm running.
A comment question, but I'd like to have your opinion about this as a solution. Instead of having to track down somebody's computer I gave them, which I actually had one guy bring his to Europe someplace. I was like, no, you could use it. It wasn't yours.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, the tracker would be interesting. But what I did is I have all my computers and they port in.
Right.
So wherever they're at, they're on their computer, but they're porting in. So I'm curious, like, what is the best porter-rater, right? You got Zoom, you've got TeamViewer, you've got AnyDesk. So is there any of them that you would say are any good or really stay away from? Or
I mean, if you're VPNing in, I mean, is that what you're VPNing into your client? Is it a client software or is it a server, shared server?
it's right now it's a shared server. We're just moving into VPN or dedicated.
Got it. Well, I mean, you can do a VSI.
Let me back up a minute. our internet, our website, they're not going on the website, so that's what we're moving over to VPN and all of that. Right now, I'm just using the software, actually the internet that comes with the
Okay. That's a bit, okay. That's going to be a bigger discussion, but let me I'll talk to you offline about that one. Is that okay? Cool. All right, any other questions? Yes, last one. Sorry.
A lot of the folks I work with are just in passing. I'll do some work for them, and then I won't work with them again for days, weeks, months, years sometimes. So I don't really have a chance to work with them and keep them in a good security posture. If you had one bit of just kind of drive-by security advice that you could drop on a small business or a person or an individual to kind of increase that culture of security, what would it be?
Oh, good question. I think primarily is just seeing the numbers and the data of understanding, like, what's your data value to you as a company? If you were to lose your server, lose your laptop, what's that going to cost you? Is it worth, $10,000, $100,000? I don't know. But what is that going to be? It's going to bring down your business for multiple days. It's going to bring down your business is going to come to a halt. Are you okay with that happening, right? And that's the key thing we do. And I think there's a lot of products out there. Kaseya has some great products that are relatively cheap that you can put on there that, that can secure them and say, hey, you know what, sometimes I just eat the cost because I'd rather have the customer safe than something else. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm going to give that to John.
Yeah.
To John. Okay. Thanks again, Adam.
Thank you.
How many of you guys have actually been hacked? I have. Who has? Anybody? Yeah, I had an old company website hack once, and it was kind of scary. We didn't have a plan in place, so Adam's point should be well taken there. Okay, round of applause for Adam again, everybody. Adam Lopez, thank you.